I'm James Demer, the audio nomad, and I have a lot of IEMs at my disposal. I'm very, very lucky, and I don't take that for granted. There is one IEM, however, that I love, possibly above all else. It's not the most expensive IEM, but it's certainly one of the most fun and engaging, and it's one that I travel with. I use it when I'm doing stuff around the house. I use it for just chilling out and listening to music. I'm going to show you which one it is right now, so let's go take a look. The old Pelican case here. Had this case for a long time. It's been a lot of places. Oh boy. Let's see what we got. Okay. Oh look, there's the new Valhalla box. That's not it. Oh, Timeless 2, we reviewed that. Forteza, the Zen's T Pro. That's a really, really good set. 7 Hertz Aurora, I wasn't crazy about that. I don't know, there's just a lot here. Oh, the HBB Punch, that's a very, very good set. But that's not what I'm looking for. Let's see here. Oh, there's some Zegots, Clavilon Delta. We got the Quintet. We got the KE4, Kiwi Ears KE4. That's a good one. There it is. That's what I'm looking for. THIEAUDIO Hype 4. Yep, THIEAUDIO Hype 4, people. This IEM is super, super good. Let's get to our regular setup and I'll tell you why I love it so much. There are things in life that I'll probably never get tired of, like the perfect slice of cheese pizza, a really good breakfast burrito, seeing my daughter smile, running, and the THIEAUDIO Hype 4. The THIEAUDIO Hype 4 is, for me, the breakfast burrito or the perfect slice of cheese pizza in the IEM world. And what I mean by that is it is so comforting and so pleasing that if I had one IEM to choose for probably for all time, it'd be the Hype 4. Is it the best sounding IEM I've ever heard? No, it's not the best sounding, but it really ranks up there as one of my all-time favorites. It's sort of hard to describe what I mean by that, but if I think about say the band REM, their album Life's Rich Pageant is the better album, but Reckoning is the one that I think warms me the most and the one that I would listen to over and over again if I had the choice. There's something about things that please me, and maybe it's true for you too, but I can't speak for you, I can only speak for myself, that are not always the most expensive or always the most exquisite, but they just hit in a way that makes you feel warm and fuzzy, and I love the way it sounds. It's a perfect tonal balance. It has great separation detail. It plays back the genres of music that I listen to in a great way, and it doesn't break the bank. It's a $399 IEM. Sometimes when I have things that are too expensive, maybe a fancy car, although I haven't had many of those in my life, or I'm using someone else's really expensive headphones, my friend's Utopias, or I'm around something that just cost a whole lot of money. There's a slight trepidation that it might break, or I have to enjoy it more to get all of the value out of it. And then there are those things that are just simple and inexpensive and perfect. I find the THIEAUDIO Hype 4 hits a great balance between a really, really phenomenal sounding IEM and a great value. While $400 is not an inexpensive IEM by any means, and I'm not suggesting that it is, compared to something like the brand new THIEAUDIO Valhalla, or many of the offerings by companies that sell higher end IEMs. You know what they are, I don't need to name names. I think the Hype 4 is probably the best bang for your buck and a really, really great IEM to boot. Let's take a look at the graph. I tend to like mid-bass. I love a bass guitar. I love that pop and punch that you get out of bass guitar strings. I also like a strong kick drum, which is not a sub-bass instrument. It's that mid-bass punch and slam. I'm not a huge sub-bass fan, although I do like sub-bass. I'm definitely prefer mid-bass. I also like clean mids. And I like a shimmery, sparkly, high frequency response that doesn't overpower that mid bass or the mids. I like my vocals to be mostly forward, but not too forward. I don't like honky or shouty or boxy sounding IEMs. The THIEAUDIO Hype 4, as you can see in the graph, does have a fair bit of mid bass accentuation, but then it flattens out for quite a while until the 1K range, where it rises up to about 2.5K and then slowly starts to diminish. So what you find is you get that upper mid range has a nice accentuation without being too forward or in your face. The mid bass, because there's a nice low shelf in between the mid bass and the upper mid region, they don't cross over into each other, so the spatial effect feels nice and wide. And the upper frequencies, as you can see from the graph, have enough air and sparkle without being overpowering. So from a tonal balance standpoint, the THIEAUDIO Hype 4 really hits it for me. In terms of packaging, it's pretty standard THIEAUDIO. You get this outer cover that tells you that it's 4 balanced armatures and 2 dynamic drivers. 17 ohm impedance, 105 dB at 1 kilohertz sensitivity, so it's very, very easy to drive. They say 10 hertz to 22 kilohertz. I don't know. I can't hear that low or that high, so take their word for it. But in terms of the frequency response, it's certainly wide enough for my ears. They come in 3 different colors. What I have are the sort of black, sort of space black color. There's a pretty blue, sort of blue and pink, and then there's a pearlescent white color, which is also nice. I actually like the black one the best. That happens to be what I have. You get a really nice case. I like this case because it's mostly a hard shell. It does have a little bit of flex to it. It's a fabric covered case with a pretty big zipper. You can fit a lot of stuff in this. I'll use these THIEAUDIO cases sometimes to hold 2 or 3 IEMs, or an IEM, a little DAC dongle. Sometimes I'll put credit cards and my debit card and some money in here if I'm just kind of out with this thing. It's a great case. It's very secure, and while it's not the smallest case, it's a good size. And the star of the show is the Hype 4. The audio quality is always good. It's a 3D printed resin shell with a stainless steel vent on the top and a nice stainless steel nozzle and another stainless grill over the nozzle with a decent sized lip that holds the tip in place. And then there's that fancy sparkly faceplate. I am not a huge fan of the faceplate, frankly. I mean, it's pretty, I like it, but I tend to like a more industrial look, and that's something that I hope THIEAUDIO in the future does something that's just a little bit more unique. They're very nice. It's just not my super jam. The cable's a good cable. It's probably a copper cable, I actually don't know. This chin slider stays put, which I like. It'll slide up, it'll stay there, it'll slide down when you want it to. Comes with a 3.5 millimeter termination. You might be able to get this in 4.4, I don't know. I'm a 3.5 guy because frankly, I'm mostly just using my Apple dongle anyway. They come with a serial number and it tells you whether it's the right or the left. You get a selection of foam tips and silicone tips. Nice. You get a cleaning cloth too. Fancy, fancy, fancy. So the Hype 4 is not a big shell. It is extremely ergonomic, and it offers a really, really great seal in my ear with these silicone tips that I'm using, these Kiwi ear silicone tips. That's great. I was actually on the train the other day from Portland, Maine down to Boston for some work, and I use these, and they do an exceptional job at blocking out ambient noise around me. Their passive isolation is exceptional. I wore them on the train for 2.5 hours. I wore them walking around Boston, and I wore them on the train home and never felt any ear fatigue. I can't hear myself except in my own head because they're isolating so well. And this is how long the cable is. It's, you know, if you had a cargo pants, I think your phone would reach no problem. I'm 5'10", and if I drop the cable, it goes down to my knees. Not the longest cable, not the shortest cable. It's sort of a Goldilocks. And actually, while we're talking about Goldilocks, let's talk about the Hype 2 and the Hype 10. Of the three, I believe that the Hype 4 is the best sounding. The Hype 10, which is $899, $799, $899, it's more expensive, has more drivers. I find that it's weighted in the bass a little bit more than I like. It's a more bassy set. It has more impact in the bass, but I don't find it as pleasing or as balanced as the Hype 4. The Hype 2, which has a few less drivers and I believe is $100 less, I think it's $299 versus $399, is a very capable IEM, but it's a little thin. It lacks a sort of a richness that you get with the Hype 4. The Hype 4 really does a tremendous job at enveloping me in the audio that I'm listening to. It's a thickness and a richness that I don't get with the Hype 10 or the Hype 2. In fact, there's another IEM, the THIEAUDIO Origin, that has a real thickness to it. And I would say that the Hype 4 has less. The Origin has a bone conduction driver. This doesn't have a bone conduction driver. It has less, but it's also, in a way, it's less fatiguing for me. I just don't think about it. You know, if we're gonna go back to the breakfast burrito or the pizza analogy, I can get a good slice of pizza in probably a fair number of places around. You know, I'm fairly picky with my pizza. And when you get a good one, you don't pay a lot of money for it and you enjoy it and you just want to keep eating it. And possibly the same is true with that breakfast burrito, you know, that doesn't need to be gourmet. It needs to be big, it needs to be hot, it needs to have the right amount of potatoes and cheese and salsa. And that's kind of about it. The THIEAUDIO Hype 4 is simple and it delivers. And it does it, well, I'm not gonna say with a budget, compared to other IEMs that cost $1,000 or more. This does it very, very confidently at a lower price. And frankly, it's all I need. I'm a simple man. I like simple things. I like a good slice of pizza, and I like the THIEAUDIO Hype 4. I really encourage you to try the THIEAUDIO Hype 4 if you're looking for a mid-tier, super satisfying daily driver IEM that you could consider your top of the line IEM if you don't need to chase the tippy top of the hobby. You can get them on Linsoul.com or Linsoul's Amazon store. We'll also have them at all the Can Jams in 2025. The THIEAUDIO Hype 4 is my Goldilocks IEM. I'd love to know what your Goldilocks IEM is and why. Please put it in the comments below. I'll read it and maybe we can have a little discussion about it. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a chance to try the THIEAUDIO Hype 4. It's been around for a bit and hopefully it'll be around for a long time to come. This video is brought to you by Linsoul.com. Linsoul sells IEMs, headphones, amplifiers, digital to analog converters, cables, really just about anything you could want for personal hi-fi or even home hi-fi. Their prices are great, the quality is exceptional, and their customer service is really second to none. Check them out in the link below.